With me now, I have the brilliant Mr. Julian Ballantyne.
Thank you.
I understand one of your first jobs was at Old Trafford, is that right?
Yeah, that's dead true. When I was at a nipper, instead of having a paper round, I was a tray boy, and that means you walk around the ground with orange and crisps and wagon wheels. That was my first sales job too. But even today that I know 317s is 51 because that's how much wagon wheels were.
That's how you work.
That's how I work out. The price of wagon wheels.
And that's how you're a United fan, obviously.
Big Man United fan. I was born in Salford and lived there for the first 20 years of my life. So obviously I'm just recently down in London for the last 21 years.
That was my next question. I won't bother asking that one. You've been at QVC really one of the longest. How do you think it's changed since the beginning?
I'll be completely honest here. When I first joined QVC, like most people, when you're doing presenting jobs, you expect to be doing a 2 or 3 month stint. And with QVC, me like many of the presenters at the time, shopping telly was still fairly new in Great Britain. So I thought, a couple of months here, a lot of nice people around. But as you know, 12 years later, I'm still here and enjoying it. And I still think it's quite fresh and quite new because of all the new products. I think it's like an education. Now, I wouldn't even know what an ionizer was before I joined QVC. Exactly. And I still struggle sometimes, but all joking apart, I just think it's been a nice place to live. When I think about 12 years, Julia Roberts and I have been here for the longest, of course, but that's longer than you went to primary school and secondary school put together. It's a long, long time.
You train some of the guests, don't you, as well?
Yeah. I've been lucky enough to work in that capacity. When I'm not on screen, I meet the new guests, and with a lovely team around me, we train guests. But many of the guests that come to us now are so well rehearsed anyway. And they come from a telly background in many cases. So the training is more of a case of initiating them to QVC and letting them know a little bit about ourselves, as opposed to formal training.
One of the forum questions was, have you any new presenters lined up?
Apart from young Daniel operating camera there, we're looking forward to that. Not that I know of at the moment. I think we've got every area covered. Of course, we always continuously scout new talent, and that's the way it's been. But at the moment, I think we've got a full complement.
What would you advise somebody who wanted to get into the industry?
In QVC or
into shopping television?
Shopping telly. There are, of course, many opportunities, and there are so many channels now. I think I counted the best part of 35 recently. So if you're committed to do that, and it's a really good job, sometimes people say, oh, I could never do that, and then other people say, I've got the gift of the gab, and I'd really enjoy doing that sort of stuff. But to get into QVC or to get into any shopping telly, you need to have a good presence. You need to know your stuff, really. And if you don't know your stuff, there's areas that I'm not very well versed in. You need to ask the right questions. And when you think about it, it's such a format. If you're asking the right questions, you want to find out all about our guest first, to put that into context. Secondly, we want to know about the company. Is it a company we can trust? And it's just the normal questions that your gran wants to know, your mum wants to know, and your nephew wants to know. Now, you can't be patronising because your nephew's not having it. You can't be overly complicated because your gran perhaps wouldn't understand. So the way we speak, we try and speak as you would do around a Sunday dinner table. And if you wanted to do the same and you had that same commitment, and if you had the chance to babble on for 16 hours a week in some cases, I think you should go for it.
Do you have any input into the products that you present, or do you have just a wide range?
We don't necessarily have input to what we present. The buyers team and the planners will possibly suit a presenter to a style of products, maybe Dale for jewellery, for instance, as a specialist. But of course, we all do everything here at QVC. We're all sat in hours where we can present each and every product. I don't have any say what goes to air.
Right. Have you got a favourite type of product you enjoy?
I enjoy Do It Yourself. I had a wonderful relationship with Harry Green for many years. Lovely fella. And now I really enjoy working with the young blood, Orlando.
I've heard, my research has done, you're a bit of a bird man.
This
is true.
No, this actually came off my website many years ago, and it got lost. It was like Chinese whispers. It got lost in translation. At first, we're talking about 10, 11 years ago, I bought a fish tank, and I bought, because I'm stupid and immature, I bought 2 piranha fish, because I think I'd seen like James Bond film or Scarface or something, and I had 2 fish. So when I was asked many years ago, have you got pets? I thought, yeah, I've got 2 fish. And somehow that went to print as he collects birds. And people stopped me and said, oh, you like tropical birds?
It stayed with you ever since.
It stayed. It has. That's the question. It has stayed ever since.
Right. Look into the future now. Obviously, you've done some acting, presenting. How would you like to see your career moving on?
Now, you talk about the acting, and I was lucky enough. I've got a very, very good friend called Steve Barron, and we've all adored Steve all our lives. We've been jealous of Steve because he directed Billie Jean at the age of 23. And every year he used to say to me, Jules, why don't you be in my next film? And every year I'd say the same, Steve, I'm a presenter, not an actor, there's a huge difference. So 4 or 5 years ago he said, Jules, why don't you be in my next film? I thought, how many times shall I tell you? Steve, I told you, I'm a presenter, not an actor. He said, oh, it's a shame because we're going to shoot in Brazil, you'll meet Pelé and you'll play for England. And I said, did I say I wasn't an actor? Yeah. Mislike me not for my complexion, the shadowed livery of the burnished sun. Tried to quote all the Shakespeare I knew from school. But from those days, I remember the first scene in that film, because if you watch Mike Bassett, England manager, I'm in it for about that long. But the first scene, and Steve's lovely, he's very patient with me, I was with the England football team in the film, and I had to walk from one spot to the other, and that's all we had to do. And I think I was massively overacting it, because I thought, what do footballers do? So blowing snot through your nose, stretching, limbering, looking at the camera. Being a pally came up to me and said, George, remember this, less is more. It's quite nice of him, which was saying, don't overact, Jules. My career in the future, I'm quite happy here. I've been given the opportunity to do other stuff. I've been looking into Many Wish You Were Here's, which is the dream job. You say people like to get into to shopping telly or telly, to go on holiday and be paid. That's a nice job. Yeah, people say, is it hard work? I'm like, well, 7 minutes for the whole week filming, and normally at QVC we do about 16 hours. No, it's not hard work in the Seychelles.
Well, we hope you're going to be at QVC for a long time to come yet.
I'd like to think so.
And all the best for the future. Thank you for talking to us.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Both.